everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of the Sprue. In this one I'll be showing you how to use kitchen foil to create tarps for your scale models. Guys, this is a technique that I've used with great success in other builds, and I've had so many questions that I decided to do a short video on using this very common material to create tarps. Now, in the M1 Abrams build, the crew's gear is wrapped up in a tarp in the back of the rear bustle rack, and that's something I'll be making, scratch building, in this video. Now, for the equipment, I chose these Alice packs from this well-known kit from Tamiya, and there you see them. I've got 3 of them. Actually, there should be 4. I could only fit 3 in there, and these have been painted and detailed. And the next step is now to wrap them in a tarp. Now, of course, you can use the kit parts, but it's not flexible, so I'll have to make something from scratch. The material I'll be using is this. It's the ordinary aluminium kitchen foil. If you cook for yourself, you'll know this very well. And I'll need a small piece of this. There we go. Little square, about the size of the tarp that we want to make. And one of the things you'll need is this roller. This is available from craft stores, and it's very handy to flatten thin metal like this piece of aluminium kitchen foil. First I flatten it out, nice and smooth, there you go. And once this is done, we can continue to do some more detailing. Of course, most of these tarps have a seam at the edge. And I fold these edges over, roll them flat again. Just make sure that everything is nice and even. These seams would either be stitched or heat sealed, depending on the type of tarp. The next step is to punch in these grommet holes right on the edges. And for this I use a punch, make a hole right through it. You can use any sharp object that you have available on your desk. Now, it's very important to properly prime aluminium foil before you try to paint it. And the best primer I found is this lacquer primer from Mr. Hobby. This just forms a chemical bond, and I found that this works better than the acrylic primers. Once this has been primed, we can now shape this. Now, the nice thing about kitchen foil, of course, is that it will retain its shape. So I just start wrapping this around those Alice packs in a realistic manner. I actually want the one pack to sort of just be exposed, just to show what's underneath. There we go, more or less like that. Next step is to just do a test fit inside the rear bustle rack of the M1 Abrams. Make sure that everything is nice and tight. There we go, more or less something like that. Yep. Seems to work. Now, the next step is, of course, to paint this, and for that, I'll first have to remove the rucks from inside that. I believe tankers call these burritos, and it makes so much sense. So we remove the burrito filling. There we go. Those are the rucks. Carefully remove this. Try not to destroy all the detail that we just added to that little piece of foil. There we go. The next step is to paint this. Again, I'm going to use lacquer paints, this being from AK's Real Color range. And I find these two colors, the one being dark olive drab and the other faded olive drab, really complement each other. So I start with a base coat of dark olive drab first. Just make sure that I coat the entire surface inside and out of this tarp. And next I just add some highlights with the faded olive drab color. Just around the top, because light comes from above, and that's where you'll see your highlights. So there we go, this is now painted, and it's ready to move on to the next stage of detailing. Before I do that, I first need to coat this with a good clear coat, just to protect that paint. So the rucksacks can go back inside the burrito. There we go, fit it, and I like the little section just sticking out there at the side. just to show us what is inside this tarp. Goes back into the rear bustle rack. Yep, that definitely works. The color also works, and I'm certainly happy with this. Let's move on to some further detailing next. When I'm happy with the look of this, I can glue the tin foil in place around those styrene parts using a little drop of super glue just to secure that in place. The next step is dry brushing. This is a technique you've seen me used in a lot of videos before. I'll be using German camouflage beige as well as my number 4 dry brush from Ammo MIG. I also prefer to use cash register paper for this. This is something that is sold in bulk at some stores, and it's very useful for just throwaway paper at the desk. First I apply some paint, and next I load up the dry brush with this. Try to remove as much paint as possible from those bristles, and once this is done, I can move on and start brushing this onto the detail, and gradually build up the color, that lighter color German camouflage beige. Next I need to paint the grommets, and for this I'm using Vallejo brass. Just a tiny little brass grommet there, painted in with a fine brush. Remember the back side as well. There we go. Next I wanted to add a further little detail. I've got this painted wire, olive drab wire, and I added that to one of the grommet holes as a piece of paracord that the crew might have used to tie this onto some equipment. Next step is to add those ammo cases at the back and drape the tarp around it. Guys, and there's the result. Very easy to do. You can apply this to a number of diorama situations where you need to have canvas or a plastic tarp draped over equipment, and very easy to do with aluminium foil from your kitchen. There is the usual list of paint colors that I used, available from all good hobby shops. And as always guys, follow me on Instagram for more tips like this, as well as any future builds. Thank you for watching.